So next month is our Halloween horror month, and it's going to be jam-packed with a video every week, 5 in total. However, for September, we only have one review video, so what is it? Is it something legendary? Something revolutionary? Something that changed the film industry forever? Well, yes, on all accounts, as today, we're gonna look at Sharktopus. Now, you might be saying to yourself, no, Sharktopus, that's not a real thing. There's no movie called Sharktopus. This is not a real movie. Oh yes, it is. It's absolutely a real movie. It came out on the Sci-Fi Channel in 2010, and at Channel Point's request of Blade, we are going to look at it right now. Much like most B-movies, it had a somewhat unknown cast, including Sarah Michael Lane, Kareem Burson, Liv Bogan, and Megan Barkley. However, it also included well-known actor Hector Jimenez, as well as Eric Roberts. Why is Eric Roberts always in so many weird movies? So what's it about? What do you mean what's it about? It's about the Sharktopus, brother. What else do you need? Alright, fine. So Dr. Nathan Sands and his daughter Nicole make this Sharktopus to be a weapon for the US Navy. But then, oh, guess what, brother? The Sharktopus gets free. So they have to get some guy who used to work for them that got fired, but he knows, like, the waters of the Sharktopus very well. And then they all have to go after and capture the Sharktopus. Obviously, there's no box office numbers because this was released on the Sci-Fi Network, and it has a 57% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which seems shockingly good. There's also two sequels, Sharktopus vs. Terracuda and Sharktopus vs. Whale Wolf. I will say that last one again, Sharktopus vs. Whale Wolf. It's like a whale, it's like a wolf, it's a whale wolf. So were they able to capture the Sharktopus? Who the hell cares? Well, I guess I do apparently, as we're gonna look at it right now. Alright, so our film begins with some lady going swimming, and oh no, brothers, she's being hunted by a shark, and the shark's about to get her, but then the shark gets stopped by, you guessed it, the Sharktopus. And weirdly enough, the Sharktopus seems like it has something on its head controlling it. That's because it does. Dr. Nathan Sands and his daughter Nicole have invented the Sharktopus to use as a weapon for the US Navy. Why the fuck the US Navy would want a shark with octopus tentacles on it as a weapon? I don't fucking know, but they appear to be interested in this reality. They then instruct the Sharktopus to stalk some guys in a boat, but it accidentally crashes into the boat, which makes the boat blow the fuck up, and also the tracker gets knocked off the Sharktopus, so oh shit, brothers, Sharktopus is free! We then cut to two painters hanging outside the Queen Mary before they're killed by the Sharktopus, and one of them dies really funny. He's like, no, not like this, not like this, not like this, and then he gets Sharktopused. Sharktopus then apparently heads to Mexico, so Nicole, Nathan, and their employee Santos go after it there. Santos then tells Nathan that there's one man that knows these waters better than anyone else, Andy Flynn. The problem is, Nathan fired Andy Flynn 2 years ago from their company, which is called Blue Matter by the way, because he dared to ask for a raise. That fucker. Santos then tracks Andy down and he's like, bro, it's time to come back to work. And Andy's like, fucking no, what? I'm not doing that. And Santos like, you don't understand, dude. The Sharktopus escaped, which is not Andy's problem, but it's enough to get him interested. He then has a tense reunion with Nathan and Nicole where they tell him they do not want the Sharktopus killed. Instead, they're going to capture it by shooting it with a tranquilizer and then shooting it with a second device which will allow them to take it back under their control. And he's like, sure, I'll do that for $300,000. And Nathan's like, hey, go fuck yourself. And he's like, hey, you don't have a choice. And Nathan's like, alright, fine. Meanwhile, we're introduced to reporter Stacey Everhart and her cameraman Bones, who's played by the guy from Nacho Libre for some reason. They meet up with a fisherman named Pez, who has claimed to have seen the Sharktopus off the coast. We then see a quite muscular tall woman using a metal detector on the beach looking for a sand dollar, and she finds one while a creepy old man creeps on her from behind. She then gets Sharktopused, and a creepy old man's like, whatever. Oh hey, a sand dollar! We then meet a young couple in Mexico on vacation who are about to go bungee jumping, only the wife is really scared. But after she does it, she absolutely loves it. She loves it so much that she wants to go again. Yeah, look at her bungee the second time, having all this fun, and Sharktopus. We then meet a radio DJ named Captain Jack, who's played by the guy from the Joe Smo Show for some reason. His co-host's name is Steffi, played by Shaundi Finnessy, and if she seems incredible incredibly attractive. That's because she was actually the runner-up for the Miss Universe competition in 2004. Steffi tells Captain Jack that there's a Sharktopus on the loose, and Captain Jack's like, no, there's fucking not. Are you kidding me? There's a fucking Sharktopus. We'll come back to these two later. The team of Andy, Nicole, and Santos are now out on the water in a boat looking for the Sharktopus, while Nathan follows behind in his giant-ass yacht. Simultaneously, Stacy is trying to do an interview with Pez about the Sharktopus before the Sharktopus comes onto the beach and kills multiple people. Stacy then reports the news story to her news station CNE, and now everybody knows about the Sharktopus. Andy meanwhile confronts Nicole because he thinks that she and Nathan are hiding something from him about the Sharktopus, and here's my problem I have with this. I know I'm looking too much into this fucking Sharktopus movie, but just hear me out. So we're gonna jump ahead just a tiny bit without spoilers. So Andy has two theories, right? One, that there's something that they're not telling him, and two, that the Sharktopus somehow knows where they are at all points. Like, it knows how to ambush them, it knows their exact location. I don't think, unless I missed it, I don't think that second one is ever proven. Like, he goes on about that for the whole movie. It's like, oh, it wasn't a random attack, it was an ambush, it knew where we were, but I don't think that ever gets proven. He goes on about that the whole time, but I think they just simply forgot to wrap up that plot point. Meanwhile, Stacy gets a call from her news network, and surprisingly, they're firing her. The only way to get the story back is to get footage of the Sharktopus, so her, Pez, and Bones decide to go out on the water. Meanwhile, Andy, Nicole, and Santos have been joined by two unnamed characters who are going to dive underwater with Andy to tranquilize the Sharktopus. This might come as a surprise, but the Sharktopus murders those two unnamed characters pretty quick and also gets Andy on the leg, but he gets out of the water safe. Nicole then calls Nathan and she's like, yo dad, why is this Sharktopus so violent? It wasn't violent before. And Nathan's like, oh yeah, I may have kinda maybe just a little bit tampered with your programming to make it more aggressive. So like Andy was right about that part, that's what they weren't telling him. But like the thing about it tracking them, that was never resolved. Unless I completely missed it, that was not resolved. But whatever, at least he was partially right. They then come across Pez's boat, and they're like, hey, y'all gotta get out of the water, and Andy just fucking fires a machine gun into the air to get him to fuck off. Not wanting trouble, Pez goes to leave, but Stacy's like, nope, you can't do that, I need my story, so she takes his keys and throws them down below deck, and when he goes to retrieve them, Pez gets Sharktopused. Stacy almost gets Sharktopused as well, but Andy shoots it away from a distance and it backs off. Meanwhile, we get some young adults having fun on jet skis in the waters of Mexico and Sharktopus. Andy and Nicole then have a heart-to-heart where Nicole's like, yeah, I'm sorry I was a dick to you and stuff, and Andy's like, yeah, whatever, dude. Back on land, Bones is pretty shaken over Pez's death, but Stacy does not care, she just wants her story, so they set out after the Sharktopus again. Also, one thing I forgot to mention, Sharktopus technically has a code name, it's actually called S11, but like that progressively gets dropped as the movie goes on. Like, at the beginning of the movie, everyone's calling it S11, but then the Sharktopus name gets introduced, and as the movie goes on and on and on, everyone just pretty much is calling it Sharktopus by the end. We then go back to Captain Jack and Steffi, and Steffi's like, seriously, Captain Jack, there's a Sharktopus. And Captain Jack's like, no man, I promise you to God, there's no Sharktopus, and Sharktopus. We then see a married couple out on a boat, and hey, the husband even caught a fish, that's awesome, and Sharktopus. And after the Sharktopus finishes with them, it heads right for our main character's boat as Andy is throwing some chum in the water to attract it. The Sharktopus then ambushes and kills Santos. And this is the last straw for Andy, as he vows to now murder the Sharktopus. They continue to pursue the Sharktopus, and Nicole calls Nathan to inform him of Santos' death, and Nathan's like, yeah, whatever, where's the Sharktopus? And Andy takes the phone and is like, you know what, fuck you, old man, Santos was my friend, and I'm gonna murder the Sharktopus. And Nathan's like, no the fuck you're not, because if you don't, I will pay you $1 million. And Andy's like, yeah, fuck you, and he hangs up. Andy and Nicole then arrive back on land, as does Nathan, who's in pursuit. We then see some cool fire dancers. Hey, that's pretty sick. And Sharktopus. Sharktopus can also walk on its tentacles. That's kind of terrifying. And then Andy shows up and is like, fuck you, Sharktopus, and shoots it a bunch of times, and then it retreats. As they continue to pursue it, they're intercepted by Nathan and some unnamed characters. But here's Sharktopus, and the Sharktopus attempts to take Nicole, but Nathan sacrifices himself, and he gets Sharktopus throat slashed. As he's dying, Nathan tries to tell Nicole that there's a way to kill it, but I don't think he actually gets out what the way is, and then he dies. And Andy's like, yeah, that's really sad or whatever, but I gotta kill this Sharktopus. Nicole's like, alright, yeah, I'm coming too. They then run into Stacy and Bones, and our main characters finally meet each other with 10 minutes left in this fucking movie. Using Stacy's van, the four of them then head to a location where apparently Andy knows where the Sharktopus is gonna be because it's been moving in a pattern or whatever, and he's been following it. I don't fucking know. And at said location, some lady's doing a rope swing. Yeah, rope swing and Sharktopus. Our main characters arrive, and Andy takes the time to rescue some lady's son, but he better hurry up because there's like 5 minutes left. Bad news though, Andy's out of bullets, but Nicole still has that controller device. And apparently somehow before her dad died, he told her that she can use a kill switch using the controller device if it gets shot into the Sharktopus to explode its brains, even though he fucking didn't tell her that, but whatever, that's the plan now. Stacy and Bones then get separated, and as she looks for him, she finds some blood and his camera, and she's like, oh cool, free camera. But then, finally, the moment I've been waiting for since I met this character, she gets Sharktopused. And even removes his shirt, because he's buff, I guess, and shoots the controller right into the Sharktopus. And even stalls the Sharktopus as much as he can while Nicole tries to figure out the password for the kill switch. The Sharktopus is about to eat Andy, but Nicole figures out the kill switch password, Pumpkin, which was her dad's nickname for her. She activates the kill switch and the Sharktopus explodes right in Andy's face, which despite being a massive explosion 2 inches from his face, does not harm him in any way, sort or fashion. Andy, covered in Sharktopus blood, then goes up to Nicole and says, hey, I hope that thing doesn't come back out after us, and Nicole's like, no silly, that only happens in the movies. And then the movie ends. Thank God for that. I'll tell you what, brother, I could make a whole separate channel off these shitty sci-fi movies. Like, there's so many of these. I'm not understating it. There are so many of these. I already told you about the sequels, Sharktopus vs. Terracuda and Sharktopus vs. Whale Wolf. There's also a similar movie called Piranhaconda. Yeah, that's right, brother. Piranhaconda. It's like a piranha, and it's like an anaconda, and the person who wrote that also made Dino Croc vs. Super Gator. They each had their own individual films, the Dino Croc film and the Super Gator film. I mean, hell, I haven't even gotten into fucking Sharknado yet. This isn't even the worst shark film I've done on this channel. That had to be the Shark Attack 3 movie. But like, all these sci-fi movies are the same. There's so many of them. They're all bad, but most of them are pretty hilarious. So yeah, I don't know how many of these sci-fi movies I'm gonna do, but maybe I'll at least do the Sharktopus sequel so we can see the fucking Whale Wolf brothers, I don't know. But yeah, thanks Blade for using your points on this masterpiece, and thank you for joining me in the incredible adventure of the Sharktopus. Everybody loves Sharktopus. There'll never be another Sharktopus, except the Sharktopus died in this one, and there's 2 sequels, so there quite literally is another Sharktopus. Actually, how does that work? The Sharktopus blew up, but then again, spoilers, the shark blew up at the end of Jaws and there was never one. How did that happen in Jaws? How did they come with another shark? Was there just like, oh lol, there's another shark? What was that movie I watched recently? Critters? At the end of Critters, it was revealed there was eggs. Maybe there's a Sharktopus egg, but sharks don't lay eggs, do they? They do a live birth, but octopus lay eggs, don't they? Do they? I think so. Maybe octopus also do live birth. Why does it matter? I don't think it matters. Alright, I'll see you later for more Sharktopus. Oh, also, wait, I'm not done. I'm sorry that there wasn't the review to Ticks last week. There was supposed to be, but I had too much stuff to do, so that's going to be next week, and it's going to be a really fun Halloween month, but it won't be as good as this month because there won't be any Sharktopus.